welcome to Intuition 101 video series. Welcome to my channel if you're new to my channel. This video series is giving you 5 major tips, going over 5 major factors that can help you develop your intuition wherever you are, from beginning to advanced. I believe you're going to find something in this video series that's going to help you to expand your natural sixth sense. The truth is, everyone is born with the intuitive ability or function.
If one is going to intentionally investigate one's ability, or they're going to try some type of psychic experiment, it is very imperative that you keep a journal.
Well, I mean, absolutely. Keeping a record of things and looking back on them and just saying, oh, well, wow, I was able to do that then. So, yeah, I should be able to do that now. Yes, I believe that that's helpful.
Hello, psychic sisters and brothers and people and non-human entities watching. Welcome to tip 2, factor 2, record keeping. What the heck does keeping a record have to do with my intuition, Anne? Well, it is actually a really, really helpful factor in developing your intuition. Remember, we talked about beliefs. Your beliefs and your thoughts about intuition have a huge impact in your experience of your intuition and how you expand it, if you'll be able to expand it, how fast you expand it. So if you keep a record of any time you think you're having an intuition, even if you're not sure, what you're doing is challenging these old unhelpful beliefs by giving some evidence to your conscious mind that you are in fact intuitive. So one of the challenges with developing intuition is your rational analytical mind, which is a beautiful part of our psyche. So the intuitive mind is another part of our consciousness, and keeping a record is helping to provide our analytical mind with evidence that intuition actually exists, that we're intuitive, that we're having intuitions, and that we can keep a record of the intuition and the evidence that the intuition was right. What we thought was an intuition was, in fact, tuning into something that we can see evidence of. And this can help to sort of prove to your analytical mind that it exists. The idea is you're going to keep a record of anything you think might be an intuition, whether it's a body sensation, a gut feeling, or you feel something, in your throat or your ears or wherever in your body. If you get a vision, if you get a feeling, if you get maybe some words in your mind, maybe you all of a sudden have a song in your mind and it feels like out of the blue, and it feels like, why would I be thinking of this song? This feels like maybe an intuition. You write down the song and write down the feeling, write down, all of a sudden you feel like someone's tickling your arm. And, most times people would brush it off. But as we're paying attention to our intuition, don't brush it off. Anytime you think, I'm getting a feeling or a sense or a vision or a taste or a sound or a knowing, write it down. And this is going to be your experiment. It's going to be your research. And at the end of the week, I suggest go back and look at everything you wrote down, and you're going to see, as you keep this record, that you are actually getting some hits, that you are actually recording some intuitive experiences that you're having, and you'll see something that happened in your life or that you found out about that was related to this nonlinear, rational information. And it's going to help you also by helping you understand how you specifically receive intuition. you might find that you receive intuitions quite a bit through um, visions, let's say, or you might receive intuitions quite a bit through body sensations. There's a lot of different kinds of psychic ability and intuitive language. So you'll be able to sense what your specific intuitive language is. And it's also going to help you naturally increase your awareness of any kind of intuitive information or experience that you're having because you're in the habit of writing it down. And a lot of my clients ask me, and how do I figure out if I'm having an intuition or it's just an anxiety or a fear or a wish? And my answer is keep a record. If you keep a record of anytime you think you might be having an intuition, you'll figure out through the experiment and through the research what was a hit and what wasn't. And as you practice with this, you'll be able to see what factors were there when you were having an accurate experience of intuition. For instance, perhaps you'll discover that typically when you, or very often when you have an intuition, you'll get a certain body sensation. And you maybe didn't notice that until you started keeping a record and you start writing down what other factors were there. This is my intuition that I'm going to get a raise today, or I'm going to get some more money today, let's say. And I had that thought come in my head. And what other factors were there? You record them. I was sleeping in my bed. I got this funny feeling in my stomach. Um, I thought of it out of the blue, and I usually don't think about these things. Those are all, factors that you can begin to pay attention to. You can also record that might help you understand what helps you to tune into your intuition. Is it this certain body awareness? Is it being in bed, at a certain time? Being in the shower is when you get maybe a lot. Is it that it comes out of the blue? So keeping a record helps you identify your unique way of receiving intuition and your intuition's unique expression. So don't underestimate the power of a journal. My suggestion is for this practical tip, you keep either a small little notebook and physically write in it, or keep something on your phone, but do it every day and try and do it at the same time. And this will help you develop the practice and look back at it regularly and fill out what things did come to pass, what evidence you can see that you had a hunch and it was on. And if you weren't on, that's part of the process. That's part of us figuring out how to expand our intuition. Is sometimes we were just having an anxiety or what have you, or a wish. But the more you do this, the more you'll see you are actually also tuning in, and you can tell the difference as you tune in and pay attention and really research your own way of receiving intuition. It also just strengthens your psychic muscles. So have fun with keeping a record, and let's have some interview time with my intuitive friends and colleagues and see what their thoughts are on record keeping and intuition.
Even if you're going to do tarot card readings, or if you're doing astrological readings, it's very important to keep a record as to what one has determined or what the reading is about. That is very important. If you're going to investigate things like telepathy, psychometry, telekinesis, um, even astral projection, you definitely have to keep a track as to what your experience is. So anytime I'm investigating something intentionally, I take notes, and also if I try something, I'll probably record the outcome. So if I do an experiment and there's a dream, I'll write down the dream. Sometimes I don't know what the dream meant until months later when an event happens. So And then there are times when you don't keep any record. You just you have an experience, and months down the line, something happens, and you can relate the experience you had previously to the current experience. So you can keep a mental record, although that's not reliable. But I would recommend if one takes notes, that's highly recommended. Um, well, I'll give you a story. I'm not a tarot card reader. I just dabble in the stuff. And a friend of mine likes to use me as his consultant. So I did a reading for him, and I thought it was an absolute failure because I couldn't relate to well, it's not up to me. He couldn't relate to what was coming out in the cards. And I knew him personally, and I couldn't relate to anything either. So both of us wrote off that reading, and I'm so sorry that I didn't keep a record of what I did for my friend. And he's one who keeps records, but he did not keep a record of that reading either because we thought it was a failure. And 4 months later, the reading played out exactly as it was. It had to do with a financial transaction that he and his wife went into. And at the time when I did the reading, he didn't know he was going to do the financial transaction. And then so he called me up 4 months later and said, "Hey, I have this problem." And when he said it, I said, that's exactly the reading I gave you. And the reading I also gave a solution to the problem too. So that's why you have to be open minded and curious and keep a record. They all go together. Yeah. I also have to add, I mean, I'm sure that 90% of the people out there have had some experience out of the ordinary that they can relate to, and they have their own stories. But due to the logic and also, the pressure of the mundane world to dismiss these things, a lot of people go through these experiences and dismiss it. But I'm quite sure if folks take the time to really look into some introspection into these experiences, it can lead into possibilities that they never really envisioned.
Absolutely. And it's so easy to forget. I think we all have intuitive moments, but we can forget, and then we tend to think, oh, I'm not that intuitive. But if you write it down, it's like it's right there. And sometimes we'll get an intuitive insight, and it's like a precognitive one, like it'll come true in a week or two. And if you have it in writing, you can go, oh, I saw that. It's in my journal.
Yeah. So it helps you catch your intuitions and appreciate
Mm-hmm.
them where you might just dismiss them without writing it down.
And I think writing also connects you to your right and your left brain, so both sides of the brain. By the act of doing it, it's a physical movement, and you're using both sides of your brain. So I actually get in touch with my intuition sometimes when I write, just by writing. I like to do dialoguing where you write to, like, say you have a challenging situation, so you give that a voice. It's like doing gestalt, and by giving it a voice, I get intuitive insight about it.
Great. Yeah. So just the act of writing can help activate your
Mm-hmm.
intuition.
Yes.
So that's another thing is when you are in the flow of developing intuition, you are in the present moment. You're so in the flow. Then it's kind of almost feel like fleeting if you don't record it, and later on it's hard to remember every single thing. And it's important, and so we can pay attention. If we have the record, we can pay attention to our daily life. and then we see our intuition may, come true or turn into something, then we can trace back, have that strengthening of our intuition and developing that trust to in your intuition. It's very profound moment when you realize your intuition was right. It's confirmed later on. So it's very powerful, not just for keeping a record, but also, strengthen your muscle for intuition. So actually keep a record or record the sessions so you can come back to at any time.